Hello, and welcome to the English Conversation Podcast. I'm your host, Sarah.
And I'm Mike. It's great to be here with all of you today.
We have a really interesting topic today. We were chatting before the show, and we asked ourselves a big question. If we had to start learning English completely from zero, right from the very beginning, how would we do it?
Yeah. If we had to start from scratch, knowing everything we know now about language learning, what would be our exact plan? What would we do differently?
Exactly. So today, we're going to share our complete step-by-step guide. This is for anyone who feels a bit lost or maybe wants to restart their learning journey with a better strategy. And we're going to go deep, really giving you the detail and the stories behind each step.
So, Sarah, first question for you. Picture it. You know zero English, not even hello. What is the absolute first thing you would do?
Okay, day one, the very first thing I do is nothing. I wouldn't open a textbook. I wouldn't download a flashcard app.
Nothing? That's surprising.
For the first hour, yes. The first thing I do is sit down and get really clear on my why. Why do I want to learn English? Is it for a better job, to travel, to watch movies without subtitles? I'd write it down and make it emotional.
That's such a great point, because learning a language is a marathon, not a sprint. If you don't have a strong reason to keep going, it's so easy to give up.
Exactly. Your why is your fuel. And I'd go further than just writing it down. I'd make a small vision board, a piece of paper, even just on my phone, with pictures that represent my goal. Maybe a photo of a city I want to visit or a company I want to work for.
That's so powerful because it makes the goal feel real and personal. It's not just, I want to learn English. It's, I want to stand in Times Square and actually understand what people are saying around me.
Exactly. So once I have my why, the second mindset shift is accepting a very important rule. I will make thousands of mistakes. And that's not just okay, it's necessary. I love that. The permission to be imperfect. So many learners are terrified of saying something wrong. Perfectionism is genuinely the enemy of progress.
So, my mindset is set. I have a strong why, and I'm not afraid to fail. Now, for the practical stuff. The next thing is building a language routine.
Okay, so how do you build a daily practice that you can actually maintain?
The key is to start ridiculously small. I wouldn't say, I'm going to study for 2 hours every day. That's a recipe for burnout. I would commit to just 15 minutes of English every single day.
Only 15 minutes?
Yep, because a 15-minute habit is easy to start and very hard to skip. You can always find 15 minutes on the bus, during lunch, before bed. The goal in the first month isn't to become fluent. It's to build a consistent study habit. Consistency is everything.
I want to add something here. In psychology, this idea is sometimes called habit stacking. You attach a new small habit to something you already do every day. So you could say, every morning after I make my coffee, I will spend 15 minutes on English. The coffee becomes the trigger. That's such a smart technique, and the science backs it up. Small, consistent habits compound over time. 15 minutes a day is 90 hours in a year. That's significant. That makes so much sense. So we have the mindset, we have the 15-minute daily goal. What do you actually do in those 15 minutes? What's the first skill you'd focus on?
Listening. 100% listening. You can't produce a language you can't hear. Your brain needs many hours of input to understand the rhythm, the sounds, the melody of a language. So for the first few weeks, I would be a listening machine.
But what would you listen to if you know zero English? Wouldn't it all just sound like noise?
At first, yes. And that's okay. I'd start with things where the context helps. Children's cartoons, for example. The stories are simple, the visuals tell you what's happening, and the language is clear and repetitive. Or I'd listen to songs with very simple lyrics. The goal isn't to understand every word, it's to get your ear used to the sounds of English.
I remember trying to learn French, and I did something similar. I watched a children's show. And at first I understood maybe 5%, but after a few weeks I could start to pick up greetings, common questions. It was a slow process, but it worked.
Exactly that feeling. After a while, you start to figure out where one word ends and the next one begins. That is actually a huge skill. In normal spoken English, words blend together. What are you doing sounds more like, what are you doing? And your brain needs time to learn to hear those patterns.
And once you're a little more comfortable, you can move on to podcasts specifically designed for English learners, like this one. Short episodes, clear speech, interesting topics.
Exactly. And there's one more technique I would add here: passive listening. When you're doing chores, cooking, commuting, have English audio playing in the background. You're not studying intensely, but your brain is still absorbing the sounds. It all adds up.
Okay, so let's talk about the next evolution of listening practice.
I would introduce a technique called shadowing. It sounds intense, but it's simple. You listen to a short piece of audio and you repeat what the speaker says at the same time, like a shadow.
I've heard of that. It's supposed to be great for pronunciation and fluency.
It's a game changer. You're not just training your ears, you're training your mouth. You're teaching your muscles how to make the sounds of English. I would start with just one sentence. Pause, repeat. Then try to say it along with the speaker. It helps you build up confidence without the pressure of a real conversation.
And it also helps with intonation, which is the music of a language, how your voice goes up and down. That's something a lot of learners neglect, and it makes a huge difference in how natural you sound.
Absolutely. Even if a learner has perfect grammar and vocabulary, flat intonation makes them sound robotic. Shadowing trains the whole thing at once: sounds, rhythm, and intonation, because you're literally copying a real speaker.
So the homework challenge at the end of this episode is going to be shadowing based. Stay tuned for that. This brings us to the scariest part for most learners: speaking. After all this listening and shadowing, how do you make the jump to actually talking to another human?
You do it in very, very small steps. The first step isn't speaking to a person, it's speaking to yourself.
Like talking to the wall?
Yeah, pretty much. I would narrate my day in simple English. I am making coffee. The coffee is hot. Now I am opening my computer. It feels silly, but there's no pressure. You're just activating the language in your brain.
And it forces you to notice what you don't know yet. You go to describe something and you realize, I don't know the word for this. And that becomes your next thing to learn. It's vocabulary on demand.
Exactly. The next step could be recording your voice on your phone for 1 minute a day, just talking about your day. Then you can play it back and hear yourself, which is uncomfortable at first, but incredibly useful.
I like that. It's a bridge between passive knowledge and active use. So after talking to yourself, what's next?
Then I'd find a safe space for real conversation. Maybe an online tutor for 30 minutes a week, someone who is patient and understands learners, or a language exchange partner who is also learning my native language. The key is to find someone you're not afraid to make mistakes with. And the beauty of language exchange is that it's a genuine human connection. You're not just practicing English, you're making a friend. That motivation is real. And what about vocabulary? So many people just try to memorize lists of words, which is often really ineffective. What's the smarter way? You're so right. Memorizing lists is a time-wasting activity I would definitely avoid. My rule would be never learn a single word.
Never learn a single word? What do you mean?
I mean, never learn a word in isolation. Always learn it in a phrase or sentence. Context is everything. So if I pick up a new word, like delicious, I wouldn't just write delicious equals very tasty. I'd write a whole sentence.
This pizza is absolutely delicious.
That way, you're not just learning the word, you're learning how to use it, the grammar and the collocations that go with it naturally.
Right. And I'd get my vocabulary from things I'm interested in. If I love cooking, I'd watch cooking shows in English. If I love video games, I'd watch gamers play. That way, I'm learning words that are relevant and interesting to me. It doesn't feel like studying.
This is so important. Research on language acquisition shows that we learn words much better when they come with strong emotional or contextual associations. A word you first heard in a funny video you loved is far more memorable than one from a list.
And one more thing on vocabulary. Don't try to learn too many new words at once. 5 to 10 new words or phrases a day, learned deeply in context, is far more effective than 50 words memorized and forgotten.
That brings us to grammar. This is something that many learners find intimidating. Do you have a specific approach?
Yes, and it might surprise people. I would not start with a grammar textbook.
Really? Why not?
Because grammar rules taught in isolation, before you've heard the language, don't stick. Think about how children learn their first language. No child sits down with a grammar book at age 2. They absorb thousands of hours of language, and the grammar emerges naturally from that input.
That said, I do think a light grammar reference is useful. Not to study chapter by chapter, but to look things up when you're confused. Like, why did they say it that way? Let me check. That's grammar learning in context. Agreed. I'd use grammar as a tool for clarifying confusion, not as the foundation of my learning. And when I want to practice grammar actively, I'd write short diary entries in English, even just 2 or 3 sentences about my day, and ask my tutor or a language partner to correct them. Writing is underrated. When you write, you're forced to consciously construct sentences. It reveals your gaps in a really useful way. And over time, those corrections become automatic. Let's talk about motivation. It's easy to be excited in the first week. But what about month 3? When you feel like you're not making any progress, how do you stick with it?
This is where I'd tell a little story. When I was trying to learn Spanish, I hit a wall about 6 months in. I felt like I wasn't improving at all. I was practicing every day, but I still couldn't understand people in movies, and my conversations were clumsy. I was so close to just giving up.
The dreaded plateau.
Totally. So one day, feeling frustrated, I found an old notebook from when I first started. I looked at my notes from week 1. I couldn't even write, "My name is Mike" correctly. And then it hit me. I had been so focused on how far I had to go, I forgot to look back and see how far I had come.
That's a powerful realization.
It changed my perspective completely. Progress isn't a straight line. It's messy. Sometimes you'll feel like you're going backwards, but the plateau usually comes just before a breakthrough. My advice to my beginner self would be track your progress. Keep a journal. Record yourself speaking once a month. When you feel down, look back at your day 1 self. You will be amazed at how much you've learned. Celebrate those small wins.
And mix it up. Don't do the same thing every day. One day listen to music, the next watch a show, the day after do a short writing exercise. Keeping it fresh and fun is the secret to staying motivated long-term.
Exactly. And remember, every expert was once a beginner. Every fluent English speaker, including native speakers, went through years of making mistakes and not understanding things. The only difference is they kept going.
So let's quickly recap the whole plan. If you are starting English from 0, step 1, find your why. Get your motivation clear and your mindset right. Accept that you will make mistakes. That's part of the process. Step 2, build a tiny, consistent daily practice. Just 15 minutes a day to create a solid study habit.
Step 3, focus on listening first. Use simple materials like cartoons or music to train your ear. Then add passive listening throughout your day.
Step 4, Add shadowing to work on your pronunciation and intonation, copying real speakers to train your mouth.
Step 5, start speaking in small, safe steps. Talk to yourself, record your voice, then find a patient partner or tutor.
Step 6, learn vocabulary in context, never a single word by itself. Learn phrases from topics you enjoy. Use grammar as a reference, not a foundation. And write a little each day.
And throughout all of it, track your progress, celebrate small wins, and remember to have fun. That's the secret to staying motivated long term.
And now for your homework challenge this week. Try the shadowing technique. Find a 30-second to 1-minute audio clip in English. It could be from this podcast. Every day, for just 5 minutes, practice shadowing it. Listen, repeat, and try to match the speaker's rhythm and intonation. That's a perfect challenge. It's small, practical, and incredibly effective. Remember to be patient with yourself and enjoy the process. Thanks for listening.
Until next time, keep practicing and happy learning. Bye, everyone.
Bye!